Yes,
Thank
Bhaskar.
you. Okay, guys, good afternoon, good morning. Welcome to the session on AWS CLI. It's me, Bhaskar Munogaran. I'm your instructor for the next 40 plus minutes. I hold like 11 plus years of experience, and I started my career as an hardware engineer, and I'm currently serving as a technical training manager for Atos University, and I'm specialized in virtualization and cloud platforms, including AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, cybersecurity, cloud security, IoT, and so on. And I'm a core VMware guy, and I hold like multiple certifications on AWS, so multiple certifications on VMware, Google Cloud, and Azure. Okay, and this specific session is specifically on AWS CLI. And for this, there are some prerequisites. So let me walk you through the prerequisites, and then I can take a random introduction from your end. This session would be understandable only if you have some knowledge on AWS, at least if you have attended any of my previous sessions, or knowledge on basics of like AWS fundamentals or VPC, EC2 related services. So this is mandatory knowledge you must and should have. And if you're, let's say you don't have any knowledge on this and still you want to learn, so I'm gonna give you a little basics, or I'll just brief the basics, like 5 minutes, and then I will proceed on that. So just want to understand, like, how many of you have never heard about AWS, or you never explored on AWS services? If there is anyone on this bridge.
Yes.
May I know your name?
Mugan.
Okay, one person. Yeah. Anybody else?
Sorry, Bhaskar, what was the question?
The question is, do you have any basic knowledge on AWS?
Yeah, Bhaskar, I have.
And then you are an exception. Okay, only one person who needs the basics. Yeah. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, Bhaskar.
Yes,
Yeah,
Bhaskar. Me also.
Excuse me. Okay, fine. People who are very new, you're gonna be mostly like an observer, and I think you may not have the AWS account as well. And the people other than like 3 or 4, so need to have some AWS account as well. It would be great if you have an account, because I'm gonna do some labs. It would be good if you can follow along with me. So how many of you have AWS account on this bridge?
I have.
Yes,
One,
Bhaskar, I have.
2,
Yeah, Bhaskar, I have.
3,
I have.
4, 5,
Yeah.
I have.
6,
I have.
7. Okay, great. I heard at least 8 plus voices, and you do have a valid account. Yes, it's good. So you're gonna proceed practical lab along with me, right? So now we'll share some expectation. I just need a random expectation for the people who have just joined. This is your first session. I don't want anyone to introduce yourself who have attended my previous sessions. I want completely new 2 participants who never attended any of my sessions, and I need your expectation and your introduction. Please go ahead.
Bhaskar, this is Manas. I don't have attended
Manas.
any of your session.
Okay.
Yeah. So from this session, as I know, I mean, I have basic idea, I have done some lab session from the AWS side. So, but I don't know anything on the CLI. Okay. So my expectation will be, from the basics, so that we can request you for a little different kind of sessions in future.
Okay, thanks for joining, sir. Yeah, definitely this session is like very basics of AWS. We're gonna discuss about how AWS CLI is used in Linux as well as Windows. Yeah, thanks for joining. Is there anyone else? I need one more introduction.
Yes, this is.
Yes, sir.
I have no knowledge of any of the cloud products, neither AWS, Google Cloud, or Azure. So I just, since they are organizing this session, I just wanted to.
Hey, first of all, thank you so much for joining the session, and you're making some time for something learning new. I appreciate that. For you, it's gonna more like an observer. You're just gonna observe like what all will be discussed part of the session. And as I mentioned earlier, you should have some knowledge about AWS fundamentals, anything as such, right? But still, I can speak like 5 minutes about understanding what is this AWS and other basic services.
Okay, just since you introduced yourself with the slide just now, since you've done also Google and cloud, and you have say with AWS, which would be more easier to learn?
Okay, I would say AWS is father of all cloud. You can just call like this. Okay. Yeah, it's like AWS in the market 16 plus years by now, and the stability, customer support, products, services, documentation, scalability, and adoption to the latest trending applications. So it leads or stands tall among the competitors. Okay. Yeah. Right. Possibly in future you can opt for any of the AWS sessions, sir. So where we'll discuss too much in detail from the scratch actually. So this session is, since it's specific to AWS CI, I'm just rushing, and never mind, and just try to be in the same page. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Right. Let's get started. So let's see how many of you have filled this form. I could see 16 participants have filled the form, and I have 29 participants. Hey, remaining 28 people, remaining 12 participants, can you just mark your attendance? Because I'm gonna send a link. In that link, you have content to download for the session. So I have 2 files which is part of the lab, which I want you to be downloaded. So make sure you fill it.
Bhaskar, meanwhile, we are unable to hear you.
Is that so, guys?
No, I'm able
Everyone?
to hear you.
Yeah.
I'm able to hear you.
No, we can hear you.
I'm using Plantronics DA70. So I'm using an headset. If you have challenges, let me know. I can just remove this headset, and I'm good with default mic on a laptop. So if you are comfortable, I can proceed. All good?
We can hear.
You can hear. Okay, yes. Great. Okay, thanks for confirmation. Okay, let's move on. So people who have joined have never heard about cloud anything as such. Here is an introduction to you. So a cloud is nothing but a service which is offered to you over in a browser or an app. Okay, and here a service where is services are like this. you will have like infrastructure. You need a virtual machine, and that virtual machine should be accessed over an RDP protocol, and you need to build it somewhere, you need to manage somewhere, you need to log into that machine and install application and so on. Okay, a cloud, one single answer internet, the resources which is residing in your infrastructure. The traditional architecture, like there will be a data center and you should be in an accessible range, maybe in VPN, or you'd be accessing that specific machine in an in the intranet, right? And the same resources which you would be accessing via internet with a pay-as-you-go subscription, which means there are third-party vendors like AWS, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. These are the majors who provide your services, your infrastructure, your application, your platforms via a web browser or an app, and they would be charging on an per minute basis. To be more specific, it's a per second billing. Okay, so here let's see about the cloud architecture components. It's made up of hardware, virtualization.
Bhaskar, still the problem.
That would be maybe from your end, which you need to correct it. I'm not sure.
Bhaskar, we are unable to hear you.
It's just you, I think. No one else.
Correct.
Check your connection. Check your connection, please.
Okay.
Okay, great. Have a look into this, guys. The hardware, like a traditional model, you will have a server, and on top of that server, you will have virtualization like VMware ESXi, Xen, or Linux KVM. And on top of that, you will have a cloud API or SDKs. So here we have two APIs. One is front end, the other one is back end. Front end, have a look into this. You will have something like a console or command line interface. So just have a look into this. This is AWS. So Amazon, AWS is the 16 years old company, and will provide 127 plus services globally, and they hold 40% plus of global customers. Okay, are they're number one, and second one is Azure. Okay, I'm a user in Amazon, and hope you all use Amazon like as an e-commerce vendor. So you will have your own accounts created. Same thing here. One more service from Amazon is cloud. So here also you will have an username and password. So have a look into this. This is my account, and I just gonna log in again to make sure that we log in via console. So this is a portal called aws.amazon.com. I'll just log into this portal with my root credentials. So root user is like a normal user who has got a complete access. IAM user is a user who make use of root user account, which means IAM user is a sub user of a root account. Example, I'm just gonna create, we have a lab also. I'll show you what you mean by a IAM user and a root user. So let me log in with the root user credential. So this is a graphical user-based interface. You see, we have a console and we have provided everything in GUI, and you see, if I need a service, I'll just navigate to the service. So in cloud, what all we can do? So in cloud, we can build a machine, we can develop an application, okay, and we can build a website, we can keep our files, we can keep a backup. So there are different services for that. So in this session specifically, I'm going to speak about two services. One is VPC. VPC is nothing but a virtual network. In cloud, if you want to build a virtual machine, we need a network first. It's more like this. You are in a new city, or you shifted to a new city like Pune and you got a new paying guest room, and you are rented out that space, and the first thing you will ask for a connection is, I mean, if you want to get connected to your office network, you need to have some kind of a network. It can be a USB dongle which you use and get it connected, or you use your Wi-Fi router to connect, right? So the first setup here is we need to have a network. So here we have something called VPC, so virtual private cloud. I mean, it's a bigger network which is used to connect to multiple individual machines. So it is like this. The first thing you're gonna build is VPC. VPC is nothing but virtual network. And virtual network always will have a range, VPC CIDR range. And within that bigger network, you will create a smaller network. We call it as a subnet. And again, subnet will have a range. So just consider this a bigger network. Within that, we are creating a smaller network. And within that subnet, you will create a virtual machine like this. I'll call it as VM1. And for that VM, there will be IP leased from this range. Let's take an example, 56. Okay, this is a typical network setup. You will have a VPC, a bigger network. Within that, you will have a smaller network, and then you will have a virtual machine created under that. Okay, and you cannot just go ahead right away go ahead and then create it. We have something called golden rule. There are few more supporting components which we need to build. Okay, and then only you would be able to successfully connect to this virtual machine. Okay, so let me bring my golden rule. I want all of you to look into this. So this is the golden rule which I would be following as part of this lab to build my machines via command line. So have a look into this. The first thing we must and should have a bigger network and then a smaller network. Then availability zone. It's nothing but a data center. AWS have 60 plus data centers around the globe. Okay, and you should specify in which data center you're gonna build. Example, US East 1, US East 2. And these are all regions. Under that region, you will have data center like US East 1A, US East 1B. Okay, and then for your network, you need internet connection. We have something called internet gateway, and then there is something called route table. Route table will have the information about traffic flow between internal and external connections. Security group is like a firewall where if you need a restriction for your incoming and outgoing traffic, will restrict it. And last but not least, we'll build a virtual machine. And kindly ignore if there is any background noises. There'll be some vendor sound. Okay, right. So let me check how many of you have filled this form. Okay, good. I can see 23 participants are filled. Now, for this 23 people, I'm going to send a link where you're going to download 2 documents for me. People who have not marked the attendance, you can mark the attendance. And you're going to be an observer. Let me know if you have received an email. Just check your inbox, everyone, and please download both of these files.
Sure, Bhaskar.
Done?
No, Bhaskar, just received the email. We're doing it.
Okay, okay. If you have received, I'm good. Just download both the files into your folder. Okay.
Yeah, we received.
Okay. Okay.
Bhaskar,
Fine.
can you send once again? Just I have marked my attendance.
You're just gonna be observer, sir, or you just ping me your email address.
Okay.
Yeah. Guys, just have a look into my screen. Everyone. So I was briefing about this user interfaces. One is console based, other one is command line interface. Okay, so to install command line interface, we need a machine. So here you can use your local laptop as your Windows machine, and people who have AWS account, you can also use your cloud machine to install a CLI. So first I'll show you how to install AWS CLI on your local laptop, and then we'll also show you how to install AWS CLI on a Linux machine. Okay, so you can follow any one of this. Have a look into my screen. Download AWS CLI. So here you see an option like this. Download AWS CLI MSI installer for Windows 64-bit. Okay, so you can open this, and you can see your AWS CLI gets downloaded. So it is with an extension like .msi, the traditional way, like how you install .exe programs, you can install this. Okay, so I'll give you
Bhaskar. Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Bhaskar, just I missed how you went and found this. So can you?
Okay. No problem. I'll show you. You just type like this: download AWS CLI.
Yeah, please. Okay, in the AWS console or in Google, simply in Google.
First of all, do you have a AWS account, sir?
Yes, I have.
Okay, great. So in Google,
yes,
you just search. Okay, great. In Google, you just search like this: download AWS CLI.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, and once you scroll down, you'll find something like this, like Windows 64-bit. To install AWS CLI on a Windows 64-bit, you click on this. Automatically, it will download from an S3 bucket, and you will see an application like this. And kindly install this. So once you install this application, you would be finding it on your command prompt. And once you have installed you will find like this AWS -version. I mean, you can use this command to understand whether AWS CLI is installed on this machine or not. Is that done?
It is
Hi
installing.
Bhaskar, Naveen here. For mine, it is showing 2.0.9.
Okay, no problem. We have two versions, AWS CLI 1 and AWS CLI 2. Not an issue.
Okay.
As long as you have installed, I'm good.
And one more thing, while I am putting AWS configure command, it is asking credential. I already given the credentials, sorry, but it is asking me default reason name, and default reason name is showing.
Hold on. Did I ask you to complete those stuff? Just wait. We are all on the same page. Just wait. I'll help you out. Yeah.
Okay.
Just wait and we'll do that. Answer is like US-East-1. That would be an answer there. Just wait. We all do that. Okay, guys, I'm moving a little faster now. So in my machine, my local laptop, AWS CLI is installed, and I have just verified by typing a command AWS-version. Okay, so let me make a list of commands which I use it here. Okay. Moving on, this is Windows based installation. Now let me quickly walk you through a Linux based installation. For this, I need a Linux machine. So I'm just gonna quickly build a Linux machine, and I'm gonna show you like how I have built this. Not necessary that you have to build a Linux machine. This is good to know information. If you have a Windows version, you are good. But still, I want to show you, and I'm just rushing it up. And if you can open AWS CLI PDF documentation, can you all open this AWS CLI PDF documentation? And here we have a step. Here we have a detailed step like how we can install AWS CLI version 1 and 2 on your Windows machine. And similarly, we have a step to install AWS CLI on AWS Linux machine. So I'll just navigate to that. Okay, so there we go. and I think by default AWS version is pre-installed. If not, you can also install or you can upgrade it. So let's verify this. So I have my Linux machine successfully built in cloud. So I'm going to use this Linux machine to install a command line interface, that is AWS CLI. Okay. So let me quickly take this. So you can ask me, hey, what is the CLI and which programming language it is used? I mean, it is built on Python. Remember this, the command of AWS CLI, which you use in Windows or in Linux, it's the same. Everything is built on Python. Okay.
Vaskar,
Okay.
one short question. Hello.
One moment. Let me finish this. Have a look into my screen, everyone. By default, in Amazon Linux machine, there is a pre-built version. Okay, pre-installed version. And if you still need to upgrade to the latest version, there are commands which you can use it. Okay, this may be the required default packages would not installed, but once you install manually this Python packages, then you can use this command to upgrade it. But the layman understanding is what? By default in AWS Linux, there is a pre-installed Linux command. And also one more thing we're gonna understand here is commands in Linux operating system and the commands in Windows operating system, both are same. Example, you're gonna see like I'll type like AWS configure. We can see it is asking for credential to log into this machine. Okay, and the same thing when I launch on my local machine. Have a look into this. This one is Linux, what you see in the back end, and the front end is my Windows machine. Okay, and if I type the same command AWS configure, still you can see the same kind of answer. You see this AWS access key is needed. AWS access key is needed, right? So at this time we don't need to execute in both consoles. We can choose any one of them. So Windows is easy one since we are familiar with Windows operating system. So I'll take this, and also I can show you a few commands in the other console as well. Okay, so let us put it down like this. What is AWS CLI? So it's there in your documentation, and if you have any questions, I'll take it up. Not right now, just hold it there. and have a look into this. So AWS supports our AWS application program interfaces. Our software development kit supports all this programming language. You see this AWS tools for PowerShell, Java, .NET, JavaScript, Ruby, Python, PHP, Go, iOS, and Android. So all this software development kits are supported in AWS. That's the first thing. Second one, and here we have versions. So you can see this AWS CLI version 1 and AWS CLI version 2. So version 1, it's a little older version, and where you will have your compatibility for old operating system supports. Example, let's take you want to use it for Windows 7 and Windows Vista, and you can use this version, AWS CLI version 1. And if you want to use only for the latest operating system, you can use this. But both, it will work, but there are some package or some operating system incompatibility that you can make use of. So here in my example, I have used AWS CLI version 1 since it supports the older packages. Okay, so we have two versions, and we have connected to one of the version. Okay. And where all you can install this? Number one, again, the Windows machine. The other one is Linux machine, and also a pre-configured machine. There are AWS CLI pre-configured machines like Amazon Linux. So three things you should know, and you can also install in Mac OS. Right. Now, what are the prerequisites? Prerequisites for managing AWS CLI. Number one, you should have a IAM user account or a root user account. You should have a valid account. Number two, once account is created, there is something called programmatic access, which means you have to provide a user to access command line interface to your AWS services. We call it as programmatic access should be enabled. That is AWS CLI access at the time of user creation. This should be allowed. So once you have programmatic access, you need to have something called A, that is access key, and B, you should have something called secret key. Okay. So you need these three stuff. So let's verify, and I'll show you like how you can create this. Yeah, so have a look into this. I logged in with my username Bhaskar Monogram, and here is my account info. I'm a root user. You can have a look into this. So here I have my root account ID and a name and address and other stuff. This is a root user. Okay, and how it is differ from IAM user? There is one more user, right? So how it differs from an root user? Have a look into this now. So let me delete this user to avoid confusions. Okay. Provide a name called Rishi, is an IAM user, and here have a look into this. This user should have programmatic access, which I briefed just now. So let me allow him programmatic access, and there is no harm if you allow a console access also. Let me allow console access as well, and provide some password and permission. We have to give him permission. So I'll click on attach an existing policy, and I'll give him an admin access, and I have successfully created a user. And now you can see this user have access key and a secret key is created. So if you look into the prerequisites, so programmatic access is created and this user should have an access key and a secret key. So here you can see an access key ID. Let me download, and here he has got the secret key. Okay, so there is 2 keys. So I want all of you, whoever has got the AWS account, please go ahead and create IAM user and copy this too. Can you do this?
Yes, Bhaskar.
Yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Bhaskar, console password should be like we need to put something or what?
You have to, yes, you have to provide a password.
Okay.
Or see, if you are not, unless until you don't need an GUI access, you get good with CLI, then you don't need to select that option also. I select that option because if I need to troubleshoot something, then I can use that user and I can troubleshoot it.
Okay.
Yeah. We may possibly extend our session like 15-20 minutes because of this initial joining and other stuff. So hope you guys are okay if we extend like 20 minutes. Like we may go
Okay,
like
Bhaskar.
yeah.
Okay. In stage 3, it is giving me to put value. So I need to put something here. I
What
given
it
the
is
administrative
asking?
privilege. It is asking me add tags.
No tags, nothing blank.
Active privileges. I
No.
given the next. So now it's key and value. Value is optional.
Default,
And
you don't
add
need to
some
fill.
new.
Don't add anything. Just click next. Should be fine.
Okay.
Is that done, guys?
Permission somewhere.
Okay. If it is done, you're all good to proceed to log into your AWS CLI.
Bhaskar, is it simply Bhaskar, is it simply creating a user? I mean, simply I created the user, given access to console, then given a password. That's it.
Yes, and you have to give him administrator access, like use an existing policy. At one stage, it will ask you a policy also. You can click on administrator access.
Create user previous programmatical. Okay, user.
Click on programmatic. Check that option, and you can check that the console access also.
Next permission. Create group. It is asking. Shall I create the group? No.
No group.
Create user.
So during first login by using IAM user, I need to change my credential. It will ask, I think so, Bhaskar.
Yeah,
I'm right?
don't select that option. You have to uncheck that option. Change password at first login. You have to uncheck that. That is for geo access. Don't worry. CLI, see,
Okay.
ultimately what you want, see this, we need this. So in programmatic access, we will get this. Guys, I enabled that console access for troubleshooting purpose. It is not necessary for you also to select that. You can simply go with the first checkbox and then provide that user an administrator access, and you will get secret key and an access key. Okay.
We can also download this key as well from the Excel sheet.
You can download that Excel sheet. Yes, there will be a CSV extension. You can download and you can open with your MS Excel. You can view those keys. Yeah. Let me know if you are all ready with access key and secret key, guys.
Yeah, it's okay.
Everyone is ready?
It's okay.
Okay. Guys, see this. Once you are ready with that, we're gonna log into our CLI, and you remember that how I did log into this portal. So what did I do? So I've just logged in like this. Sign out. Let me log in again. I clicked on login back. Okay, see, this is called a console based login. Okay, so, and you would have noted that I have logged in with root credential, and now I can log in with IAM user credentials. Okay, so for IAM user credentials, we need account ID and alias or the complete path. For that, you have to copy it from the root user itself. So let me quickly log into the root user again, and I can show you how this works in GUI. So have a look into my screen, all of you. If you're doing something, halt it there. Just halt it there. Kindly keep yourself on mute. Have a look into this. When you click on services, once you logged in, when you click on services, in the search section, you should type like IAM, Identity and Access Management. Once you click on IAM, it will redirect to this path, IAM, and then you will find a user. And if the user want to log in, then he has to follow this path, or you have to use this URL to let him log in. So here there is something called, something called a 12-digit root account ID. Okay, so here in my case, I have a root account ID here, which I can simply copy and open a new tab and paste the entire link like this. I can do like this. Okay, I can do this. It will redirect to login with an IAM user. And remember, see this. It's asking me to log into a root IAM user, and remember I have provided a username Rishi and a password. And have a look into this. So it allowed me an access for a IAM user. You see this Rishi at that specific account number. Okay, so this is the difference between a root and a IAM user. IAM user will be tagged along with the a root account ID, whereas a root user, it will not tag with any of the account ID. So you will see directly a account holder name. So let me log out from this. You don't need to try this. One moment. Let me finish. You don't need to log in with the GUI based logins. I'm just showing the differences. Okay. So now let me come back to my root login. And I'll call it as sign in with the root user. Here you see an option, sign in with the root user again. Let me come back to my console and login back. Okay, this is all about the GUI login. Now I want to log in CLI. So let me open my portal like this, and I use my first command, AWS configure. Okay, so to login IAM user with programmatic access. The first command I'm going to use here is AWS configure. By the moment you type AWS configure, it will ask access key, and you have already made a note of this access key here. Let me copy this access key, and it is asking for a secret access key or a secret key. Let me paste my secret key here. Okay, and here it is asking default region name. Okay, now I'll just come back and show you how you can find out this region names. So you see this global, everyone, when you click on this down arrow mark, you can see a different region and with IDs. Example, North Virginia, US-East-1. Okay, and for Ohio, US-East-2. So in this example, I want to use East US1 or US East 1. So let me make a note of this, US-East 1 or North Virginia. So I'll come back here and type like here, US-East 1. And you see in the bracket, there is an example also. And here, there is something called output method. So there are multiple output methods are available in AWS CLI. I'll show you example JSON, table, text, and so on. Output method. Table. So you can see this. There are different output methods. You can get it in a JSON, or you can get it in text, or you can get it in table. Okay. So now here I'll keep it like text. So it will be in the output will be in plain text. I'll keep it text as a default output format. So can you all do this, guys?
Okay, Bhaskar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me know if you all of you have logged in, like people who have an AWS account.
Yeah, it's done.
Okay. Yeah. Now you can ask me, hey, already I have a console access, but still why I should use command line access? Can anyone tell me why in production people are using command lines, or what is the advantages of using command line over GUI? Anyone there?
Script
Less
within
time
execute
consuming.
scripts.
Okay, one is saving the time. Okay, the other one?
Security, main
Scripting.
security.
Security is there in both GUI and CLI as well.
So for example, if we want to create a single mission, then we can go for a GUI. But same thing, if I want to create hundreds of missions, then easy to go for a command mode, I think.
Actually, in AWS in GUI, you can create 100 machines by giving a number also. Yeah, there is an option. My observation, like comparing with GUI and CLI, is switching between different tabs. So let's take an example. If I want to create a network, I have to switch to a tab of VPC dashboard. And then if I want to create a virtual machine, I have to switch to a tab of EC2. And if I want to create a user, I have to switch to a tab of IAM. So here I have to switch between multiple tabs for multiple services. Whereas here in CLI, you don't need to switch. You need to know the name of the service which you want to configure. Okay, so let's see which are the services you can configure under AWS. AWS help. So here you can see, you press enter, available services, access analyzer, ACM, PCA. So which means what? There are 127 plus services. So most of the services are available in CLI. Or AWS assures you that if a service is released within 90 days, they will have a AWS CLI ready. So have a look into this. So these are the services are supported. DB, EC2, Elastic, Container Service, ECS, Elastic Kubernetes Services, EKS, Glacier, IAM, Identity and Access Management, IoT. So you list any service which is there in GUI, those services are supported in CLI as well. S3. So these are the services supported in CLI, Web Application Firewall, and so on. Let me cut this off. So I want to use this command AWS space -help. So here I used my third command, that is AWS space -help. Okay. Done, everyone? Guys? All of you?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Now, what I want from you is, I want you to select a region. For example, see here in my case, let me switch to here. In my case, I am switching to a region where I don't have any VPC. I should not have any VPC in that region, or virtual private network in this region. So let's switch to VPC. So here I have selected a default location as US-East 1, that is North Virginia. In this region, I don't have any VPC. Okay, so you all please make sure either you use a region without any VPC, or you change, you make correction in your command line that you switch to the correct region where you don't have any VPC. So this is what the requirement. You should not have any VPC because you are going to build everything via a command line. Okay, so here I have one more PDF documentation called VPC-UG. UG means user guide. In this guide, I want all of you to navigate to page number 53, or you can search, quick search. It is called step 1, create a VPC and subnet. Page number 53. And here you have step 1 to create a VPC and subnet using AWS CLI. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna use only command. We are not gonna use any console. We're gonna use commands to build our virtual machine in cloud. Okay, so let's do this. You can keep your percentage high so that it should be viewable. The first command to create VPC and subnets using the AWS CLI. You can have a look into this. So now let me copy this entire command. Okay, so here I'll copy this and come back to my I'm not going to use I can use Linux also, but I'm not going to use at this time since I have already authenticated in Windows. So let me directly type this. So what happens when you get authenticated with an IAM user? By default, any command which you execute now, it will execute in a default region which you have selected. So now this command should execute a VPC on my North Virginia location. So let me enter this. AWS EC2 create -VPC -CIDR. So have a look into this, all of you. Yes, it is created a VPC, and this is my VPC ID. This is my VPC ID. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly make a note of all this. I'll make a note of this VPC. So here I have copied a VPC ID. Let me paste it here. This is my VPC ID. So I want all of you to make a note of this. Please keep all your individual services with a separate ID. Example VPC, you will have a VPC ID. Okay, and let me quickly show you the golden rule to you so that you will understand like what all we need to build a machine. So this is what we need. We need VPC, subnet, availability zone, internet gateway, and so on. And few of the services are pre-built, but still I want you to remember this. These are the things we need. People whoever have attended my previous sessions, they know like which service is mandatory and how to navigate to that service. People who are new, that's a list what you have seen. That's an order we're gonna build. And also I have explained you in this diagram. So if you want to build a machine, what you see here, this is called VM, virtual machine. Within this machine there will be a OS. Okay, so if you want to build this machine, we need what? We need a bigger network, that is VPC. We need a smaller network, and then it will allow us to create a virtual machine. So this is what I'm gonna do. So my VPC is created. How to verify from command line? See, if you have a GUI access, what you will do, you will simply log in GUI. I'll refresh this, and you see there is one VPC is created. Okay, so what you'll do, you'll click on your VPC and you'll verify that yes, my VPC is created, and you can have a look into this. I have provided this range, and my VPC ID also matches. VPC 462. Let me verify this. You see this VPC, and it ends with 462. Okay, so just now I have verified via a GUI, but still I want to verify via command line. How to verify whether VPC is created successfully or not? So for that, AWS EC2 describe VPC. Okay, it is describe VPCs. Add VPCs. Okay, great. It is listing now. Have a look into this. This is a command I used to list the VPCs in that specific region. So here you can see the status is available, and this is what my VPC ID. Okay, and this is what the CIDR range. Right. And you want this to be listed in a table. What you are seeing is this is a plain text, right? And you want to be you want this to be viewable in table. Again, we use AWS configure. Let us change our view to table view so that viewable would be easy or convenient to view. And here I'll mention table. Okay, and then I'll use that same command. Yeah, guys, all of you, is there is any difference between this view and this view? Everyone?
View is scattered, and this view is well organized with the table format.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
So this is most precise one. So let's stick to this. So I want you to change into table view. Can you all do this?
Okay, Bhaskar.
Go ahead. So use the same command AWS configure.
Bhaskar, what is the command to make the table view? Yeah, down one.
Yeah, look into my screen. Can you see this?
Yes.
It's all here. Everything is here. See here. You should type only table. Fourth option, instead of text, you should type table.
Okay. Okay.
I want everyone to do this. People who have AWS account, let me know how many of you have successfully completed this. Guys.
Bhaskar, I'm getting one error message that is could not connect to the end point, and the URL name is mentioned under inverted comma, that is https://ec2.us.east-a.amazonaws.com.
Maybe you don't have you created IAM user, no? What permission
Yes.
you gave it to him? Did he give administrator access?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I'm not sure.
Should I use any other access key which we already have?
You cannot use other access key.
Mail
Oh,
account.
Main account key you can use. Okay, I'll show you how this works. Look into my screen. Can you see my account name here? Main account. You can click on your account.
Yes.
and you have something called my security credentials. Can you see this?
Yes.
You click on this my security credentials, and then can you see access key and the secret access key here? Can you see this?
Yes, Bhaskar.
Yeah, you
Yes.
can make use of this. You can click on create a new access key and it will download one CSV file. You can use that also. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Okay,
can make
thanks.
use of that. Yeah. Okay. Quick check. How many of you have completed this?
Bhaskar, I have completed.
Bhaskar, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Even Bhaskar,
Yes, I
I
have
did.
did.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Okay. Let's quickly come back to our screen. Now, if you can navigate back to page number 53, we have executed first command. What is the second golden rule? We must and should create a, what is
Subnet.
that? Subnet. Correct. So look into my screen. AWS EC2 create a subnet for a VPC ID. I told you to make a note of your VPC ID. Do you all agree with me?
Yeah, correct.
Correct. So first let us copy this command into a notepad, and then we'll correct this command. I have my notepad plus here. So let me correct this command. So VPC ID is needed. I already made a note of my VPC ID. Let me copy this and navigate to this and paste it here. So there will be a subnet created. See, create a subnet. This is a command. And under which VPC? This specific VPC. On which range? You have to create 10.0.1.0/24. We no need to make any changes to this except VPC ID. We can make use of the existing range. I can copy the entire command now and come back to my Windows AWS CLI, paste this and enter. So now what will happen, everyone?
Subnet created.
So yeah, subnet is created with the subnet ID. Okay, you all see the subnet ID, guys. Copy this subnet ID, and I want you to copy the subnet ID and come back to your notepad or notepad plus and list it. Subnet. So my VPC is ready, subnet is ready. So I made a note of them. Is that done? Excuse me. All of you, is that done?
Yeah, Bhaskar, mine is done. Prashant this side.
Okay, thank you. How about others? Is your subnet is ready?
Bhaskar, mine is done.
Okay, very good. Look into my screen, all of you. And now we just now created a subnet. So in this screen, it says that state is pending, but still you want to make sure whether it is created or not. So the same command, like the one which you have used earlier, like AWS EC2 describe VPCs, now you use subnets. Can you all see this?
Yeah, Bhaskar, now it is showing available.
Very good. Okay, see now, state is available. So this is my subnet ID, and I'm just verifying this. Ends with 06B. Yeah, it's 06B, and the state is available. And I can see my range and where it is created. I mean, which availability zone it is created. Also, it's created in US East 1C. Okay. So let's clear the screen. Right. Now, I'm not going to execute a third step here. I mean, third step on the first section. I'm moving to second step, make your subnet public. Okay, as you all know, if you want to access our virtual machine remotely, internet should be flowing on that machine, correct? Or that machine should, the machine may need internet connection. So either way, so let's create an internet gateway. So have a look into my screen. The command is AWS EC2 create internet gateway. I'll copy this command, come back to my Windows AWS CLI, paste this command and enter. My internet gateway is created, and this is my internet gateway ID. Let me copy this and put it into my Notepad++. IGW this. Right, go ahead. Done, everyone? Guys?
Yeah,
Yes,
Bhaskar,
Bhaskar.
mine is done.
Okay, very good. Now we need to attach our internet gateway to VPC, correct? So have a look into this command. Using the ID from previous step, attach the internet gateway to your VPC. Okay, so you should read this command, then only you will understand. Attach internet gateway to a specific VPC ID from this internet gateway. So let me copy this command to my Notepad++ and modify necessary changes to this. So let me copy this and come back to my Notepad++, and please make your command in a single line. Sometimes you may miss the second line, so better you put your commands in single line like this. I moved IGW on my right, it was listing down here. So VPC ID needed. So VPC ID is here. I'll copy my VPC ID and select this VPC and replace that. And I need my internet gateway ID. I'll copy this and navigate to this and paste this. Okay. So see the modifications. Soon after VPC-ID, I pasted this, and soon after internet gateway, including IGW, I copied this. I mean, whatever was there, the ID, and I can copy this and come back to my CLI and enter. So something was missing. I have missed, I think, gateway -id. Yeah. See, small correction here. Gateway -id. So let us verify that command. Can you see this? Can you all see this?
Yeah,
It is
Bhaskar.
gateway -id.
Yes.
So I have corrected that. Gateway -id enter. So now you see it's executed to the next line, which means the changes is done. So how to verify that? You can verify that by command line, or you can verify directly with your console. And you all know there is one command, vpc describe vpcs. Associated VACL PC area. So here I don't see. Let me see. Describe internet
IGWS.
hyphen gateway. It is gateways. Okay. Okay. Can you all see this? VPC ID, that is 462. Okay.
Yeah,
And it
Bhaskar.
is attached to this. Right. So that's what I need. Now, what is the next golden rule? Golden rule is here. This was done by default. A route table and routes and then security group. Okay. Let's come back to my VPC user group PDF page. I'm in page number 54. Once you scroll down, you see something like this. You have an option like create a custom route table also, but I don't want to create one more route table because by default a route table would be created. Okay, so I'm going to use the default route table. See, in 54th page, as per this document, they are asking us to create one route table under our VPC. Okay, but by default one route table is created when a VPC is created. So I want to list that route table, or I want to know that route table ID. Okay, so let's come back here and use this command, describe a route hyphen tables. So here I have got a route table list. Okay, have a look into my screen. So here is route table ID. Let me copy this route table ID. This is my default route table. So let me copy this and come back to my Notepad++. Default RT, that is my default route table. I just made a note. Okay, can you all do this now? You don't need to create a route table. You can use an existing route table which is created by default. Can you do this, all of you?
Okay, Bhaskar.
Go ahead. Looks it's going strong, so thanks for your patience, because multiple people, I mean, we have to depend on everyone, right? So I'm also asking you to do it. So we are extending the session again. You see this time is ticking up. Hope you don't have a problem, everyone there. All good? No problem. Guys, time is not a problem, right? So we are proceeding.
Yeah,
Yes,
Bhaskar.
yes, yes.
Not an issue.
Okay. Okay. Moving on. So what we have to do? So to that default route table, we have to attach internet gateway. That we do in GUI. And if you remember, the same thing we gonna do it in command line. Have a look into my screen. Point number 4, create a route into the route table that points all traffic to the internet gateway. Okay, so let's copy this command and come back to my notepad++ and put it in a single straight line. Right. So what all we need? We need a route table ID and we need internet gateway ID. So route table ID is here. Let me copy this and take this replaced. And you need your internet gateway ID. Let me copy this and replace this. So now a new route would be added. Let me show you how it looks before and after. Look into my screen, all of you. So route tables, and there is a route table which ends with 96A, and I click on routes, edit routes. Currently you don't see a route table pointed to internet gateway. It is none, only one route is there, default route. Okay, the one which I'm gonna use, this command will enable a new route for all IP addresses pointing through my internet gateway. Okay, let me copy this command and come back to this, paste it here. Okay, can you see return true? Okay, which means what? It is created. Create a route, return true. So let's refresh this. Let's refresh, or we can click on this, edit routes, refresh. Routes, edit routes. Did you notice this change, everyone?
Yeah, Bhaskar.
Yeah, so that is achieved with the help of this command. Can you all do this now?
Okay.
Go ahead. Right, moving on. And I have just verified via GUI. I no need to confirm via command line. And route table. And it says that your route table is not associated with any subnet. Actually, by default, all subnets are part of default route table, so we don't need to do any of these steps. Moving on to other steps. So all this, like 7 and 8, already my subnet is public because I have modified my default route table. So any subnet which is created with the default route table is by default public. Okay, so I'm not gonna do any steps here till 8. Moving on to step 3, that is page number 55. Here we can, here with the steps we are allowed to create a virtual machine, and we can manage accesses to this machine and so on. So have a look into this. So to launch and connect to an instance into your public subnet. So first step is like create a key pair. So if you already have a key pair, you are good to go. So currently I have a key pair in this location. Let me show you this. EC2, North Virginia. Key pair. You all can see I have 2 key pairs. One is gold biscuit key, the other one is master key pair. Let me copy this name. Key pair name. Okay, so for you may not have any key pair, or if you think that you want to create a key pair, you can simply use this option, create a key pair in GUI, or the same command line we have an option to create a key pair. You can use this key pair. Okay, so my suggestion is don't create a key pair here in this command line. For time being, for only for this specific task, you can use create a key pair option, because directly it will download into your local laptop. This key pair you can directly download into local laptop and you can save it. And through this also it will create a key pair, but for that you have to navigate. There is a path you have to navigate, and then put that private and public key in one single file and then download. So some lengthy steps is required. So I want you to skip, that is task 1, command line task. So better you can directly go to key pair, click on create a key pair. It will create a key pair for you and you can download that. It will be in the .pem extension. And then create a security group in your VPC and add a SSH rule. So already I have a security group. Okay, by default I have a security group, and in that security group I need to set some permissions, like I have to enable inbound rule, like an SSH should be allowed. Okay, so AWS create a security group. So here what I'll do, I'll use my existing security group name. So let me go ahead and so let me check my default security group name that I can find. It will be in the name like default, by default, or you can give some tags to it. So VPC security groups. As like if you have attended my previous session, you know like how this default security group was created. So here you can see it is under a default group, and let me give a name. I'll call it as default SG. Excuse me. And then come back here. And now since I already have a security group, I can skip this step also. Launch instance into your public subnet using a security group key pair value, the value that you have created. Okay, let me copy this command and come back to Notepad. So you see this, guys, all of you. AWS EC2 run instances image ID AMI. Can you see AMI? AMI means Amazon machine image, and each and every Amazon machine image will have a pre-installed operating system application and so on. So let us find out what is this AMI A4827D69 is all about. This could, I think this should be a Linux machine. So how to find this? So we can navigate to EC2. I have EC2 here, and I have AMIs, and here I can search that AMI, and this AMI is not owned by me. This is a public AMI. You can see this. So it's DC9 AMI for DC9. There are like 50 plus, but somewhere it is embedded with this naming convention. Private images. No. Okay, not necessary that you have to remember that AMI ID name, or you can simply list out all the AMIs. So how to find, how to locate such AMI? If you navigate to instance, launch instance, you can find an AMI ID here. Can you all see this AMI ID, guys?
Yes, Bhaskar.
See here, you can select a specific AMI. So let me select this AMI in my case. Let's come back this AMI ID, and let me change this image ID to mine. And the number of VMs you're gonna deploy is 1, and T2 micro. That's right. It's in T2 micro. T2 micro. Okay, that's the next step. T2 micro. Okay, key name, my key pair. That is, you can see this key name is my key pair. So let me put it in one single line. So I'll change this key name to my key pair name. You see this, which I have copied. I'll copy this and paste this. Okay, security group ID, security group ID, security group ID, security ID, sorry, subnet ID and security group ID. So how to find a security group ID? Again, we can use same command here, describe security -groups. So here I have a default security group to the user group ID pairs group ID. So here is the security group ID and ends with 06C. Let me verify this. Security groups, that is on VPC. security groups. You can see this, it's security group ID 06C. Okay, right. So the same one, let me copy this. Let's navigate to my Notepad++. Let me change this group ID to my security group ID. And last but not least, subnet, like which subnet you want to deploy this. I have already created a subnet. Copy this and paste this. Okay. Oops. Let me copy only the required command line and okay. Okay, something is broken. Key name gold biscuit. Key name and name.
It's a key hyphen name.
Okay, super. Okay, great. Can you see this? It started creating. Let us verify. So I should, as of now, you all know I don't have a machine. Can you see this? Now, if I refresh, can you all see this? Machine is creating. Everyone, guys?
Yeah, Bhaskar.
So how it is happening? How it is possible?
Through AWS CLI.
Correct. Through my AWS CLI. And then you can purchase, I mean, similarly, you can purchase an Elastic IP, or through some commands, you can attach Elastic IP to this machine. So let me quickly find that option, because my machine don't have any public IP as of now, but we can do that. We can attach. Elastic IP. I don't find that direct command, so let me make use of Google. So here, allocate address domain VPC. Okay. So have a look into this. This is the command. Allocate address. And with the VPC domain network group. So let us see whether this command will allow us to create a Elastic IP. Okay. So here I have a public IP. Now associate elastic IP to EC2 instance. So there we go. To associate elastic IP with an EC2 VPC, here you have an option. Okay. So let's here. And what all we need? We need a instance ID. So instance is creating now. Let's so I have a machine, and this machine have instance ID, instance ID. Instance ID, here it is. Okay, so let's replace this. And the location ID, you can find it. There should be an ID here. So let's take IPs. Here is an allocation ID. And let's see, because I have created like a classic one. Let's see. Okay, awesome. This is done. So can you all see this public IP, guys?
Yeah.
So
Yes,
there is a public IP attached now. Let us verify. So this is 195.195. Awesome. And now it's a time for me to verify this access PuTTY and SSH authentication pointed to my TTK. That is cache key.
Bhaskar, I think that inbound rule for the SSH we have not created.
Yes, you're right. Inbound rule for that we have to configure the security group. Yes, you're right. Awesome, dude. Configuring inbound security group AWS. So there we go.
In the our VPC UG, there is command is there from which to port, means IP port, from port to port, and the IPv6 range.
Yeah. There, yes, you can see. I mean, there are commands. So the layman understanding, yes, we can do that. You can see this AWS EC2 authorized security group ingress, and then you can put a port. You see this?
Yeah, correct.
And we can keep this range. This you can do, but here to save time, let me quickly make changes here. And you should do for outbound also. So let me make changes. Okay, good catch, man. And the session, paste this IP. Can you all see? EC2 hyphen user. There we go. It all works. So it all works, guys. So this is what I expected from the session. So the entire machine can be built with command line, and you can make your networking configurations. The only thing is we need some patience and we need some tracking. See, this is for the very first time we are doing. So once in your environment, whatever you see here, it is all pre-listed, or your management will use some tools or an Excel sheet where they'll keep tracking of all those things. So what you need to do, you need to have a command line like this and then make necessary changes to it and then get it executed. So what I did now, you see, it's a traditional command line, right? So you can put all these commands in one single file and then you can execute like a batch script also. Okay, not necessary that every time you have to manually type like this. You can put it inside a batch file or any PowerShell or any kind of an executable file you can create, and then when you execute that file, the content inside that will get executed. Okay, guys, hope you all understood how AWS CLI works.
Yeah,
Yes.
Bhaskar.
Yes, Bhaskar.
Okay,
But it requires some practice, more and more practice, and the CLI.
Correct, man. You
Command.
definitely need. Correct. You definitely need some patience and practice. That will make you perfect.
Well, the command line. Yeah, command lines and all.
Yeah. How do you guys felt about this? Your open feedback, please.
Yes, Bhaskar. Sure.
Sure, Bhaskar.
Mostly the thing is like as we have gone through the GUI, so GUI looks like an very easy instead of having the CLI things. But the thing is like if we having and multiple, if for example if I need to create a multiple subnets under the VPC, so through an CLI I can copy paste I can create in one Excel sheet within command line and I'll paste it over there. So instead of copy pasting the each and every subnet into the GUI, it will be a bit tricky. So in this CLI it will be an easy. Only I need to copy paste the CLI exact the entire command.
Yes, you're right. So that's what I said. Instead of navigating to different pages, that's what I felt like. You can simply keep it in a tracker and then get it created. Or in production, there are possibilities that you may need to use multiple region-based navigations. Example, see, currently we are in North Virginia, right? And in management, they may ask you to put it in Ohio few machines, and then what you'll do, you will get confused like whether you are in Ohio or North Virginia and so on. Then you have to manually switch. So in that case, you can have 2-3 consoles open. Like one you can use it in your Amazon Linux machine, and the other one is your Windows machine. So if you want Ohio, you execute in one console. North Virginia, execute in one more console. So this is how you can make your tasks faster. Okay, guys, please go ahead and